Hey guys, I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm Amber Flasica Jane Cosplay, and today we are back at you guys with Steins Gate, episode 13, well, Steins Gate 0, episode 13, sorry.
Yes, last episode was about Kagari and her mom. It was about her finding out who her mom was, and Mayuri also finding out who her future daughter was, because it all came crashing down. She remembered a song, and what's interesting about that song is that basically, she heard it because her mom sang it, but her mom sang it because she heard, it was a chain of people singing it, but it all came back to Okarinu who was singing it
because he heard it
from Kagari.
Yeah.
So Kagari is a time paradox. It's a whole paradox which is not supposed to happen. Makise was saying before that a time paradox is not possible, which is why you can't learn from a time machine that you create in the future when you're in the past and stuff like that. But then Kagari's existence means that a paradox is possible, and we're thinking that this might lead to the plan to save Makise in the future, because it will need a paradox, right? Okabe will need a paradox to save Makise, so maybe if he learns from Kagari, he can do something.
Let's hope so.
Did that make any sense? Maybe.
Strangely, it did.
So, we're excited about this. We're not sure he's gonna figure it out right away, but we're freaking out over it. So, with all the secrets that have come to light and all the mysteries that they also showed us last episode, because we know she was, some people were after her and they, they used her and stuff. So, we don't know what they did with her, but it's important. We'll see where they lead the story from there and what happens. So, yeah.
I'm waiting for the Third World War, guys.
It's happening
Basically,
slowly.
I'm waiting for it.
It's happening slowly, but there's still many mysteries to figure out. So let's jump in this episode and see what happens.
All right.
Let's go.
A matter stem sample cost 6205.
So do you think... Okay. Do you think one of our theories was that she was created because we needed access to Makise's genius somehow, that she was a clone or whatever.
About that. Yeah, that's why she was looking like her so much.
Like, no matter how she was created or stuff, like she has her own memories and she doesn't have like Makise's memories or anything. But what if they tried to transfer somehow Amadeus, like the AI, in that body?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right? Because like, it's definitely the teacher, the professor from America. His eyes, it looked like him. What I don't understand is that in the future, if it's him, in the future, he sounded very different. He sounded young.
We suppose that the guy in front of Okarin was the same guy, but we might be wrong. But this guy, we saw his face, and he really looked like the English teacher.
But then he got older. So was he older in our present when he was still doing stuff with her? Because I'm guessing they did stuff with her when she was in the future, and she was never, she never had PTSD about the war or anything. I feel like I feel like she did not remember her past because she was with them, and somehow she escaped. And Mayuri found her, and so they had to be very careful about how they were gonna, handle the situation. They made it sound like they were dealing with PTSD when really they were doing that brainwashing shit. And when she got back in time, maybe she heard that song, because I don't remember the scene, but when she was with Suzu, she probably heard a song similar to what triggered, her here. And that's when she freaked out, like she had flashes and shit, and she pulled a gun on Suzu. Then they picked her up, because we still need to see, what happened after that, but they probably picked her right back up and pushed the brainwashing further. They put her in that room when she was a kid. No wonder she doesn't remember. If it's not part of the brainwashing, like, even if it wasn't part of the brainwashing, like, I wouldn't want to remember anything. Like, she was stuck in that room alone when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, and the professor, I think, is linked to that, but then maybe his son?
You think his son?
I don't know. Does he have a son?
They never
Because
Said
like
something about a son.
we saw an older, okay, maybe the guy, the doctor that whose face we didn't see and was like, oh, we still need to do some stuff about her PTSD, was someone else. And then the older guy that looks like the professor is just a professor in the future. It's not the same men then.
Yeah.
So then he created Amadeus, and then in the future he'd be doing research on well, he kept doing his research with Amadeus, but then they used Kagari to push that research further. And we saw him as an older man because she remembers him from the tests and stuff. And now when she time traveled, either he found out and he found her and he used her again, or something else is going on. But I'm guessing the future him is the one that was doing tests with her to begin with. And it's fucked up. Yeah. So the Americans are trying to do shit like that.
What did you think about the fact that she got triggered by a song by Mozart? Do you think that he might have do something with?
It was a song by Mozart. Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Do you think that he might have done something related to Maho, maybe?
Well,
because from
that's why you're freaked out about Maho.
What we saw of her, she does not look like someone who's gonna be on the bad side of things, you know.
But then maybe, you know,
but she's the only one to make the comparison between her and Makise, between Maho and Filia.
Yeah, but remember, when we were in the other timeline and Suzu came back in time, she was saying that Makise ends up working for CERN, and then, you know, we kept saying like, she's not that girl yet. You know, stuff's changed. She met Okarine. Maybe Maho meeting Okarine because he used to know Makise from another timeline changed her path. But then in the original, you know, timeline, it's the same timeline, but in the original path for her future, she kept obsessing over Mozart and Salieri. And that would explain it. Because that's the thing that changed Makise in the other timeline. She met Okarine, and then him and Mao wouldn't have never met, or he wouldn't have never, you know, gained her attention if he had never met Makise in the other timeline.
Hear me out, though. I want to say something. When Kagari and Suzu went back in time, how would the professor know about Kagari?
I still don't know about that.
Do you think that the young professor in the future went also back in time and live his life, and we saw him back in the future again when he was older?
I was thinking maybe he also time traveled, but as far as we know, the only machine that exists...
how would they know about Kagari that she went back from the future?
Okay, my only guess right now that doesn't involve them time traveling, because I don't know if they ever managed to create a time machine. I know there was a war about, you know, having a time machine and stuff, but I don't know if they ever managed it. Maybe later in the future they came back, but then we never saw another professor. I don't know. If they did not time travel, my only guess would be she was alone in a city where she knew no one in the past. She freaked out and she went back to a place that she knew, and they found her like this.
It's true that technically that's supposed to be a hospital, right? There was an H on the
Technically, yes. So that's my only guess. Like if he didn't, you know, manage to create a time machine and go back somehow, I would assume that it's because she was lost and she went back to a place that she knew, and they found her and figured out that she was from the future eventually. And then they called the professor and were like, man, we kind of need your help.
That's still fucked up.
I don't know. Like there's still a mystery here.
But you know what?
But I'm feeling confident.
It wouldn't be far-fetched to think that maybe someone else came back from the future, you know?
But I'm feeling confident, though, that the Maho thing is set in stone. That, you know, it's a paradox, because because Okarine met Maho thanks to his knowledge of Makise in the other timeline, she would never, you know, work on that project if she does work on that project. And she would never, you know, use that song, because that's the only link we have to Maho, you know, her keeping, you know, her obsession about Makise and then creating this. Maybe she's part of the whole thing. Maybe she tried to recreate another Makise in order to, you know, bring her back. I don't know.
She was so against the idea to think of Amadeus as a second Makise. I don't think that she would have been in to create
maybe it's not her idea, but she could have helped. She helped with Amadeus. she was around for Amadeus. So like, who's to say she wasn't around when it came to that?
Let's see.
In any case, like, no matter what she possibly did, it's never gonna happen now because she met Ocarina and she changed. But then that creates another paradox, because if it never happened, then the situation that made it happen is not gonna happen. It's
True.
fucked up.
Yes,
But,
that's true.
I think that's what they tried to do. Like, I think they tried to recreate Amadeus, but an actual AI, but in a real body or something. They tried to push their research, and then Kagari was a victim of that. But then we still have many episodes, actually. How many? A bunch, right?
Yeah.
We still have a bunch of episodes to try to make sense of all of this, but now we need to find her. And I have a feeling like she was brainwashed to react to this song, and she's calling it the voice of God, which is actually the voice of the professor. So maybe it's one way to never lose her, if she ever hears that song again, which plays everywhere apparently in this town, she would go back to where he told her. So I'm guessing she will go back to the professor if we're right and he's involved. That's fucked up. Oh, man.
Okay,
and she was so happy this episode. She reminded me of her mom so much, and I was like, man, she's happy.
Of course. Mayuri is her mom.
I know,
Of course she looks like her.
But I'm like, we cannot have a character in this show that is happy for more than one episode.
It's Steins Gate. Of
I
course
know.
not.
Speaking of Suzu.
Yeah. I feel so bad for her because we know that she's dead set on succeeding at her mission. She needs to stay focused, so she cannot say the truth to her mom and her dad. It's still a big thing that her dad knew about her true identity.
It reminds me a bit of Chris from Charmed. Spoiler alert if you have not seen the original Charmed, but when Chris came back, he was dead set on not getting close to his family because he lost them in the future.
There's that, but also anything can change the future for the worse.
No, I know,
don't
but
know about that.
For him, his explanation once they knew the truth was, I do not want to get close because if I get close and I start loving them again when I go back, I'm going back to a future where she's not. For Suzu, it's a bit different because she's not going back. She's pretty sure that she's not going back. Then again, maybe she doesn't want to get attached because she needs to focus on her mission. And if she doesn't focus on her mission, her parents will die in the future. So it's similar because it's like she doesn't want to get attached or close to them in case something happens because of that. But I'm like, you have a chance to start something. But, like, she's close to Daru.
The thing is, her mom died in the future, right?
Yeah.
So there's the pain of doing that. Her mom is dead, and the one that she's seeing right now is technically, yes, her mom, but not yet. So she's not really her mom.
It's weird with Mayuri, She, like, Kagari is close to Mayuri, and Mayuri she's indulging her because she likes it and she needs that, but then Mayuri is so awkward with the situation.
Mayuri is awkward, but she's
nice.
Kagari is her friend. She understood somehow the situation. She's just rolling with it,
But then I look at Daru, who just accepted it too, and he's doing a good job.
Yeah, but Daru knows more about what's going on than Mayuri,
Definitely. But I think with Suzu, it's more that she needs, like, she's a soldier. She needs to focus on her mission because if she doesn't, the world will go to shit and it will all be for nothing. So she has so much pressure on her shoulders that she doesn't want to allow herself to have free time, lower guard and hang out with her parents and family. We know that eventually she's gonna settle. She's gonna have a great time and she's gonna be fine with everyone. But then as soon as her mission is over, okay, it's not over yet. It's not going to be over for a little while still. So it's really, I do get her anger because she's looking at Kagari, who just adapted so well, and she's just hanging out and has no filter when it comes to her mom, and she's just being happy and she wants that, but she can't have that. So that turns into anger and she's lashing out at Kagari. And Kagari, she knows this girl and then she remembers her leaving her, which is not what happened, but her memories are mixed up and she was alone for so long. It makes sense that she would lash out or at least be angry at Suzu.
Yeah.
But then both of them are in the same boat, sort of. They both went through their fair share of shit. I'm really glad that they have, Daru and Mayuri and Ocarina to kind of settle their difference and calm them down a little bit, because they are so similar in their misfortune that they need to band together and stay and you know, and they love each other. Like, just look at how Suzu just went outside like running when she figured out that she was in trouble. They both love each other. It's just that they need to show it more. And Suzu is bad at that. Very bad at that.
Just a bit.
She pulled the gun on Okarin because she was freaked out. So, yeah. She's bad at showing emotions. Anyway.
Yeah, you could say that. Alright. So that was episode 13.
I love the ending, by the way. Like, I love when they do something like that. But I love when they push the episode with the music from the ending. And it just hypes the entire episode up, because you feel like it's much more important than anything else, and the revelation was disturbing but worth it. So yeah, I'm ready for the next episode.
Yeah, so if you want to watch the next one, it's already up on our Patreon. The link is down below, so click on it.
And if you want to watch it on YouTube, the episode will be there next week, so
wait for it.
Yeah. See you then. Bye.
Bye, guys.